Hi everyone. So today we are going to be looking at how to create a value scale. So yesterday we looked at our different tools, so our graphite drawing pencils, what they all do and what the range of value we can create with those tools are. Now, if something happened, if you had some technical difficulties and you could not get logged into class on time, that video is available for you in the Google Classroom. So when you get a chance, go back and watch it. So that way you know what you missed. Okay. So for a value scale, this is going to be your sketchbook assignment number one. So for our labels in art class, and this is for anything we do, not just our sketchbook assignments, also your projects, anything that you do that will be turned in needs to have a label like this. So what I want is you will put your first and last name. If it's a sketchbook assignment, you're going to write out sketchbook and then the number we're on. So in this case, this is our very first one. So we're going to do sketchbook number one. Put the class that you're in or your grade. So for the high school studio class, that's both 9th and 10th graders. So for you guys, you're going to put high school studio. If you're in 7th grade, you put 7th grade. And then I really need this information. So I have 3 sections of 6th grade. I need to know what period of 6th grade you are in. Okay, so if you're in 6th grade, 4th period, you would write 6th grade, 4th period, and then your title. So in this case, the title of this is value scale. Now the title might be something that you've created. If it's an individual drawing, you get to be creative and come up with your own name. All right, so but I want this on every one. So no name, no fame. Also, when you're taking photos of your assignment in your sketchbooks, you want to make sure you fit the entire paper. You want to make sure that I can read this. I need to be able to read your name and all this information in your photograph. So make sure you crop it correctly, you have some good lighting, that it's not dark. So just keep those in mind as you're turning in assignments. Okay, so what is a value scale? So what I've done here is this is just a plain index card. If you don't have an index card at home, that's okay. You can do the same thing in your sketchbook. I would pick an edge of your sketchbook that is easy to get to do this. So if it opens like this way, you might want to pick the bottom to make this, or it might make more sense for you to put it on this edge. You decide. You just don't want it, if your binding is over here, don't put it like this because you need this on an edge that's easy to get to. All right, so for this one, I kept it simple. You might have more pencils than this, but basically all you're doing is you are going from light to dark. So over here, I have my 4H pencil. Remember, the higher the number on your H, the lighter it is. Now, the higher the number on the B pencils, the darker it is. So we're going our scale from light all the way to dark. So I have 2 H's included. I've got my middle one right here, my HB, should always be in the center of your scale. That's kind of your middle ground, so however you plan it out. And then I'm getting gradually darker on each side. Now, you might have a 2B, a 3B, a 4B, and a 6B, and you might have a 2H, a 4H, a 6H, and an 8H. It is up to you how many you want to include in the scale. If you're doing the work anyway, I would go ahead and test out all those pencils. Go ahead and make a good scale for yourself that you can reuse over and over and over again. It'll save you a lot of time in the future. So how does a value scale? What's the point? Why are we using it? So in this example, it's really easy when you're drawing is you get focused, like I'm focused on this drawing, and you start to lose some of the details. So as you're shading, you kind of get stuck on one pencil and you realize your entire drawing is all light gray. So your value scale is an easy way to check. But it's also, let's say you're using a reference photo, so I can take my value scale, put it against my reference photo and figure out, okay, so this part of her hair is a 6B. So I know when I'm shading this area that I want it to be a 6B. It looks like, oh, you know what? This area, this backside where the light is hitting her hair, this looks closer to an HB. Okay. So skin tones, especially for skin tones. Oh, so this highlight on her cheek, I should probably use a 4H for this one. But for the definition of her cheekbones, this looks closer to an H. All right, so you see how this is an easy tool. Instead of just trying to guess which tool you're going to use. So like her shirt, we've got a wide range. So I see H right here, these little folds we can use. So we got 4H back here. This looks closer to an H in between here. The highlights on her braid. So you figure out which one looks to match the closest. Okay, so it's an easy tool for you. It's also good as you're working to kind of check yourself to make sure that if you're pulling this across your paper and you only have an H, if her entire face is, this scale, that tells you that, oops, you know what? I need to go back and lighten some spots. Or I need to come back in here and make sure my shadows are showing, that I have enough like under her chin. My chin, like what if it was too light? You can come back and make sure you're showing those contour shadows. All right, so we will be using your value scale every day. So your first assignment in your sketchbook, create a value scale for yourself. So if you don't have a note card, do not stress out. Just put it in your sketchbook, put it near the front of your sketchbook, add your label, take a side. If you don't have a ruler, you can just use the straight edge of a book, any kind of tool you have, even if you have a kit that has a metal tin, these are perfect straight edges. So, don't stress either about the spacing, okay? I'm not looking for perfect 1-inch squares or any of that. I just want to see the range of light to dark. If you have blending tools, this is a great opportunity to go ahead and try to test those out to see what your blending tools are capable of. All right, so when you are done with this, take a photo and you will attach it. You're going to add the little plus, it says plus button, add or create under the Turn In tab in Google Classroom. You push this button, it gives you a drop-down menu, and you will add your attachment, your photo. If you need to create a document, sometimes you might need to create a Google Doc and drop your photo into that. That is fine as well. Whatever is easiest for you to turn in the assignment. And it might take you a couple times the first time, and that's okay. If you are completely unfamiliar with Google Classroom, Miss Hunt and I made a how-to tutorial for Google Classroom. That link will also be posted to the Google Classroom. So if you have questions of, well, how do I add an attachment? How do I create a Google Doc? Where are all of my assignments? Where is my to-do list? All of those things are covered in that video tutorial. So if you need to just kind of watch that and figure out how to do these steps, it's really, really simple. Once you do it once, you'll catch on pretty quick. But don't stress about it. There's some resources to learn how to do that. If you get stuck or you just are completely lost and have a question, feel free to send me a private comment through Google Classroom and I will get back to you. All right, so let's try to get this done by the end of the day today. So this is kind of your exit ticket for art class today. I'm going to give you more time today during our Google Meet to work on this and get it started. All right, guys, have a good one.